The room was chilly, not only from the air conditioner or the cold, lifeless walls of the courtroom, but from the silence that hung over it like a noose. You could sense it, the tension, the betrayal, the burden of all that had been unsaid for so long. And at the very center of it all stood Robyn Brown, shaking. She was no longer the composed, careful woman we had seen on camera for more than a decade. Her shoulders were hunched, her mascara was smudged, her hands, gripping a crumpled tissue, shook violently. Across the courtroom, Kody Brown refused to make eye contact. His jaw clenched, his posture stiff, seated next to a woman no one expected to see that day, his alleged fifth wife. The moment Robyn approached the witness stand, the room shifted forward as one. This wasn't a typical custody hearing. This was war. The bailiff requested that Robyn place her right hand on a Bible and raise her hand. She spoke her words aloud, though her voice trembled. "I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth." And then there was the silence. It was only a few seconds, but in that quiet you could sense 18 seasons worth of suppressed feelings just waiting to burst. The judge, a stiff woman with hard eyes and an iron tone, at last inquired, "Mrs. Brown, is there anything you'd like to say before we start questioning?" Robyn gazed down, then up, then finally across the room at Kody. And she cracked. "I loved you," she said softly. "I believed everything you told me." Her voice broke so severely that even the court reporter paused for a moment to type. "I defended you. When Christine walked out, when Janelle turned away, even when Mary was cast off, I remained." She turned to the judge. "And now I'm the one who's standing here like the fool, watching him parade in a fifth wife, someone he's been hiding for months behind our backs." Her attorney calmly handed a folder to the judge. Inside were printouts of Venmo payments, screenshots of late-night hotel bookings, and worst of all, text messages. Texts between Kody and his clandestine wife. Sweet nothings, vows of forever, and even plans for how they would deal with the fallout from the other wives. The courtroom gasped. Kody's lawyer quickly objected, asserting the text had been taken out of context, but the judge stopped him. "This court is here to find the truth, and that means the context of betrayal." Robyn looked down once more, her shoulders quivering. "I gave this man everything. I allowed him to adopt my children. I sacrificed my own desires to be what he claimed he needed, and the whole time he was plotting this with her." She turned to look straight at Kody. "Was I just a placeholder, Kody? A stepping stone to something younger, something prettier? Or did I mean anything to you whatsoever?" Kody did not respond. He did not even blink. It was then at that awful silence that something changed. From the far end of the courtroom, Mary Brown rose to her feet. Beside her, Christine, arms folded, eyes reddened, but voice resolute. They stood and went forward and sat behind Robyn's lawyer, a subtle display of solidarity that rocked the court. The camera cut to Kody. For the first time, his face broke. His eyes flicked from one of the women to the other. It was evident, he believed they'd never turn on Robyn. They did. Not because they'd forgotten their own suffering, but because they'd seen hers. And this moment wasn't about sisterhood, it was about justice. "I discovered through my daughter," Robyn went on, voice still shaking. "She introduced me to a TikTok. This woman, his new wife, was on it. Laughing, spinning in our living room. My living room." A second gasp from the courtroom. "She didn't realize that I had no idea. She just figured I was fine with it. That we were all good because that's what Kody told her." She raised her phone. "That is the video. I brought it to my lawyer the next day." The judge directed it be entered into evidence. The supposed fifth wife in the video is wearing Kody's hoodie, the one he said he lost while he was out on a business trip. She's moving around, taking a haul of home decor stuff Robyn had originally selected for their shared home. Kody gazed down, massaging his temples. For the first time he appeared defeated. Kody's attorney walked to the stand. "Mrs. Brown, would you consider your mood to be tainting your view of what's happened lately?" Robyn blinked. "Not at all. Would you remain level-headed if your husband of more than 10 years had a second family?" The attorney stuttered. "And do you have any evidence?" He attempted again, "that Kody was financially or emotionally supporting this woman prior to legally separating from you?" Robyn faced the judge. "He never legally separated from me, he just didn't come home." Then she faced the lawyer square in the eye. "Does emotional abandonment qualify? Because if so, I have years of evidence." The judge leaned forward. "I'll be the one to determine what qualifies." "Please continue, Mrs. Brown." Robyn hesitated. And then, in one of the most emotionally unguarded moments the courtroom had ever witnessed, she dissolved in tears. I am not perfect, she cried. I remained while others left because I believed that I was keeping this family alive. I believed I was the last strand holding it together. She gazed once more toward Mary and Christine. But the reality is, we were all being unwound, one at a time, and now I realize I was just the last one to fall. The judge looked over at Kody once, then at the reported fifth wife, then back at Robyn. The courtroom was silent again. You could hear the soft tick of the clock on the back wall. You could hear the creak of a wooden chair as someone shifted. You could even hear Robyn's breath catch, another tear slipping down her face. And then, softly, the judge said, "We'll take a short recess, and then we'll hear Mr. Brown's testimony." As the gavel hit the desk, the echo felt like thunder. The first blow had been struck, and it came from the one person Kody thought would never turn on him. Robyn Brown. The court reconvened. Everyone returned to their seats, but no one had truly recovered from what happened before the recess. The air felt heavier now. Robyn's breakdown still echoed through the walls. Her tears had etched a course not only through her own heart, but through the hearts of those once standing across from her, Mary and Christine. Now it was Kody Brown's turn. Taking the stand, the room fell uncomfortably silent. His gait was deliberate, measured. There was no expression on his face. No remorse, no apology, no shock. Cold steel alone, the kind that slices without a whisper. He lifted his right hand, and on command he took the oath in a voice so flat, it seemed mechanical. "I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth." He sat down, smoothing the suit jacket. It wasn't his typical loud pattern. This one was charcoal gray, somber, on purpose, like a man ready to play victim while standing with the dagger that had led to the bleeding. The judge inched closer. "Mr. Brown, proceed with your statement." He looked over the room. He didn't look at Robyn. He didn't glance at Mary or Christine. He only gazed at his fifth wife, standing by the back, arms folded, lips compressed, eyes steady. Then he spoke. "I never meant to harm anyone," Kody said, voice steady, "but I never enlisted to be crucified for living the life the world has misconstrued from the start." The judge glared at him. "Mr. Brown, this isn't about your lifestyle. This is about your behavior. Keep to the facts." Kody's eyes fluttered, but he nodded. "Okay," he said. "Fact is, the dynamic between Robyn and me has not been a marriage emotionally for a while now." Gasps were whispered around the courtroom. Robyn hung her head. "We were sharing a roof, but we were not a couple. We were parents. We were business partners. And we were public figures attempting to maintain a brand." Christine's head turned away. Mary shook her head. Mary continued. "So yes, I met someone new, someone who gave me peace, who wasn't part of the constant accusations, the emotional volatility, the guilt-tripping." The judge cut in. "You're saying that because you were unhappy, what you did was justified." Kody shrugged. "I'm saying I'm human." Then he leaned forward, as if begging the court, but his voice remained cutting. "I have been the villain in every story, the bad husband, the ruthless father, the manipulator, but never once was I asked how it felt to be carrying this family, how to negotiate 4, now 5, separate personalities, expectations, emotional meltdowns, and public scrutiny." The judge did not crack a smile. "You chose that life." "I did," Kody concurred, "but it doesn't necessarily mean I should be punished for every shortcoming in it." He addressed Robyn at last. "I'm sorry she learned about it the way she did. That was never the idea. But the fact is, Robyn wasn't my wife anymore a long time ago, and I can't continue pretending for appearance's sake." Robyn glanced up, eyes pink, face shiny with drying tears. Her voice cracked in the silence. "I was still pretending, Kody. I was still trying." Kody didn't meet her gaze. The judge continued. "Mr. Brown, you're charged with financial misrepresentation. Did you or did you not divert joint funds to finance this new mate without mentioning it to your current wife?" Kody did not blink. "I paid for hotel rooms and dinners, yes, but those were my personal finances." The judge tapped her pen. "Bank statements indicate otherwise. We'll get back to that with your accountant. Go on." Then came cross-examination. Robyn's attorney walked slowly forward, voice calm but firm. "Mr. Brown, how long ago did you get into a relationship with this lady?" "About a year ago," Kody groaned. "A year ago," the attorney copied. "When did Robyn discover?" 6 weeks ago." Gasp again. The chronology made it worse. This was not a lapse, it was an extended fraud. "And during that 1 year," the attorney asked, "how many times did you spend the night at your shared household with Robyn?" Kody hesitated. "Once every few weeks." "Did she know you were staying somewhere else?" I told her I was traveling. Did you lie? I didn't reveal the whole truth to her. In other words, the attorney leaned forward. You lied. Kody flinched. I shielded her. By embarrassing her? Objection. Overruled. The attorney shifted tack. Mr. Brown, did you or did you not say to your fifth wife that you intended to divorce Robyn once season 20 had finished filming? Kody's face was frozen. Silence. That one is on hold by subpoena. His attorney interrupted. Mr. Brown, the judge warned, you are sworn in. Kody finally replied, yes, I did. Robyn gasped. She slapped her hands over her face. The audience buzzed. The judge rapped her gavel once. To get the people back under control. Christine leaned forward and whispered to Mary, so it was all about the cameras. He was going to leave her at the end of the filming. Mary didn't say a word. Her gaze was fixed on Kody, gaze that once burned with love, now blazing with contempt. Kody now seemed worn out, even resentful. He relaxed into his chair, untying his tie and knotting it loosely. I did what I had to do. Nobody realizes the strain I've been under. I was trying to hold the family together. And yet, said the lawyer, you initiated the last match yourself. Silence. The judge next posed a single question to Kody. Mr. Brown, if Robyn hadn't discovered your fifth wife, would you have told her? Kody didn't respond immediately. Then eventually, when? Kody blankly stared. When the time was right. The judge looked at her papers, then back at Kody. And when would that be, she asked, her voice sharp. After filming stopped? After the checks cleared? After the camera ceased rolling? Kody didn't say anything. The silence was telling. As the session came to a close, the judge said, this court will hear from Mrs. Christine Brown and Mrs. Mary Brown next. Their words will assist the court in establishing the degrees of betrayal, mismanagement of assets, and emotional damage. The gavel came down on the block, and with it Kody's carefully woven persona started to disintegrate, not only in court, but in the eyes of all who watched. The courtroom was still stunned from Kody's chilling testimony. What started off as a self-protective declaration had soon devolved into a cold rationalization of emotional abandonment and betrayal. But the most dissonant moment wasn't what Kody confessed. It was what he refused to deny. And now everyone's eyes turned towards the back of the courtroom, where two women sat silently in solidarity, ready to testify. Mary Brown, Christine Brown, three of Kody's ex-wives, two women who had left the destruction decades ago, and now both of them had come back. Not as bitter bystanders, not as jealous exes, but as witnesses in a courtroom where truth had been turned into a weapon. The bailiff called out, Christine Brown, come up to the stand. Christine stood up straight, not with arrogance, but with purpose. She walked up to the stand, took her oath, and sat down. The courtroom leaned forward, for after all Christine had been the first to leave, the first to utter enough. She lost no time. I'm not here for revenge, she stated bluntly. I'm here because I lived through the manipulation Robyn's experiencing right now, and if the court doesn't step in, she won't make it through it either. Robyn, still shaken from her collapse, nodded gently. Christine went on. Kody used silence as a shield. When something went wrong, he disappeared. Emotionally, physically. He'd tell me, I just need space, or you're being dramatic. But what he was doing in reality was causing confusion and fear, and we took that as our own failure. She pulled out a printed sheet from her folder. This is a journal entry from 2018. Kody informed me at the time that he was considering a legal reset. His words, not only with Mary or me, but with everybody but Robyn. The judge raised an eyebrow. Do you think that's when he started distancing himself emotionally from the family? Christine nodded. Yes, he began with Mary, then me. He kept Janelle close because she was loyal, and Robyn because she was devoted. But even she, particularly she, was merely a pawn to defend his ego. Kody's lawyer objected to the use of emotive terms, but the judge permitted it. This testimony addresses pattern of conduct, she said. Christine continued. One of the most chilling things I ever heard Kody say was in a fight between Robyn and me, off camera. He said, let the wives fight. It keeps the attention away from me. He smirked when he said it. That's when I understood. He never wanted cohesion. He wanted anarchy he could manage. The courtroom fell quiet. Christine stared straight at the judge. He allowed us to tear each other apart while he constructed his next step behind our backs. Robyn was his best friend, until she wasn't. But it was Mary's testimony that would deliver the courtroom's most jaw-dropping moment yet. When Christine stepped down, the tension shifted. Now it was Mary's turn. For years, Mary had been portrayed as loyal to a fault, the one who clung longest, hoping for restoration even when the love was long gone. But today, she walked differently, less hesitant, more grounded. such a woman, finally laying down her burdens. She swore, sat, took a breath, and then landed a bombshell. I discovered a prenup. A hush rolled through the courtroom. The judge huddled closer. A prenup, Mrs. Brown? Yes, Mary asserted. In 2014, after I formally divorced Kody so he could marry Robyn, I was sorting through old papers in a communal file cabinet. There it was, a prenup. Not between me and Kody, but between Kody and Robyn. Signed 2 weeks before our divorce was finalized. Gasps filled the courtroom. Robyn's face paled. Kody fidgeted uncomfortably in his seat. Mary went on. It said that in case of divorce, Robyn would get full rights to some assets. Coyote Pass land, royalty payments, and a secret savings account. Did you talk to him? The judge asked. I did, Mary responded. He told me it was just a draft, that he was covering for the family, but I wasn't part of that protection. Neither was Christine or Janelle, and obviously neither was Robyn, really, because years down the line, he had another woman sign another prenup. Kody thumped his hand onto the table. That's confidential. The judge hammered the gavel. Mr. Brown, you will not yell in this courtroom. Robyn remained motionless, shaking her head slowly, as if attempting to come to terms with a reality that had always been sitting right in front of her. Christine spoke softly from the audience. We weren't wives, we were contracts. Mary's voice cracked once more. I thought I was sacrificing for love, that I was making room for our family's future, but Kody wasn't creating a future. He was constructing his own way out, paper by paper, fib by fib. The judge paused to scribble something on her notes, and then looked up. Is there anything you'd like to add, Mrs. Brown? Mary glanced over at Kody. She did not blink. I'm not angry anymore. I'm awake. And I want this court to wake up too. While Mary descended and returned to Christine, the judge announced a short recess. But before adjourning the court, she addressed Kody directly. Mr. Brown, the evidence of your ex-wives paints a disturbing picture, one of chronic deception, emotional abuse, and financial manipulation. This court will not receive any more testimony until your financial information is subpoenaed and presented fully. Kody attempted to protest, but his lawyer restrained him. The gavel came down on the bench, and the tide had finally shifted. The courtroom had witnessed its own fair share of tears, testimonies, and truths, but what was to follow would shift the entire mood. It was all about calculated composure. It was all about being in charge. It was the woman who had stolen everything, intentionally. The bailiff rose to his feet and called out her name. All eyes shifted to the rear of the room, and there she was, Kody's fifth wife. She emerged with chin held high, spine straight, eyes calm like worn stone. No trembling, no hand holding a tissue, just a slight smirk twisting at the corner of her lips, as if the whole room was already in her pocket. Also Robyn, now sitting next to her attorney, instinctively cringed. Christine mouthed. She's proud of it, and Mary just nodded. She's here to win. Kody's wife number 5 sported a crisp fitted blazer in blood red, an odd choice, undoubtedly. Her heels clicked in perfect sync as she approached the stand. The tension was biting enough to cut through paper. She swore the oath in precise perfection. When she was told to declare her name, she did so confidently and clearly, drawing out the first and last names a nanosecond too long. She was aware of the cameras viewing her. Miss, you are seeing Mr. Kody Brown currently? Yes. And are you lawfully married? No. Spiritually, yes. Emotionally, more than any of them ever were. The room gasped. Objection. Sustained. But the damage was already done. Her words struck Robyn in the chest like a punch. Please limit your answers to facts, the judge admonished. The fifth wife smiled obligingly. Of course. What she had to say next made even the judge hesitate mid-sentence, and Robyn almost fainted in shock. When did your relationship with Mr. Brown start? The judge asked. The fifth wife answered promptly. We met at a real estate convention in Scottsdale, about 2 years ago. We hit it off. He was charming, vulnerable, open, said how trapped he was. Did he tell you he was still married to Robyn Brown? She shook her head. He said it was complicated, that they hadn't shared a bed in years, that she was more of a business partner by then. Robyn hid her face in her hands. And did you know about his past relations with Christine, Janelle, and Mary? Yes. He told me they'd all turned on him, that they were bitter and jealous, that Robyn was the only one who hadn't betrayed him yet. Robyn raised her head. Christine ground her teeth. Mary stared at Kody, who sat motionless, staring ahead, expressionless, like a man under siege and unsure which way to turn. Miss, were you promised any assets or legal protections from Mr. Brown? She nodded. We prepared an agreement last year. He vowed that after he cut himself loose from the legal and financial details of the earlier marriages, we would sign documents to acquire shared ownership of some family properties, land on Coyote Pass, and a production royalty provision. Do you have this document in your possession? Yes, my lawyer has a copy. The judge glared at Kody. Is this correct? Kody remained silent. His lawyer asked for a sidebar. The judge refused it. Is that true? She asked again. Yes. Kody eventually grumbled. Christine erupted from the gallery. You were about to give her property that we all worked so hard to build? Robyn was trembling once more. You told us we were hurting financially while you were giving away land? For the first time in the trial, Robyn could not keep quiet. She stood up. You sat at my table, you played with my children, and you were plotting my replacement the entire time? The fifth wife didn't blink. She merely said, he was already gone, you just didn't want to see it. The words strike like a bullet. The judge directed Robyn to sit, but her wails reverberated through the room like shots fired. When asked whether she felt sorry, the fifth wife shook her head. No, Kody was drowning in an ocean of emotional turmoil. I gave him clarity, peace. He chose me. Do you think you've done some damage to the family? The family was already in shambles before I got there. I'm just the only one who's willing to acknowledge it. Christine looked away in revulsion. Mary just grumbled under her breath. She's not merely a fifth wife, she's a fifth storm. The judge's warning. The judge issued a warning to the fifth wife before dismissing her from the stand. You think you are owed Mr. Brown's promises? Yet this court does not hold verbal contracts to be binding unless completely written down. What you think is clear may well turn to litigation. The fifth wife smiled. I'm ready. Her confidence was chilling. Her presence left a scar, and as she walked away from the stand, she glanced back. Not at Kody, not at the judge, but directly at Robyn. That smile again. That quiet victory. That unmistakable message. I've already won. The judge looked exhausted. The courtroom buzzed in murmurs and shocked whispers. She banged her gavel. This session is adjourned. The court will reconvene tomorrow for closing arguments and asset hearings. Even more inquiry into all common assets, trusts, and corporate income will commence at once. Robyn slumped into her chair. Christine hugged her. Mary said nothing. Kody left without a word. And in its wake no harmony remained, only devastation. The gallery was packed. The media had received word of the courtroom mayhem. Cameras lingered outside. Fans murmured online. And within those four walls the Brown family was set to be rewritten eternally. The judge entered with a sense of finality. She had a pile of papers clutched in one hand and a piercing stare in the other. Undefined. All stood up. Everyone waited. Nobody caught their breath. This was the moment for which they had all been waiting. After 5 sessions of heart-wrenching testimonies, hacked emails, clandestine prenups, broken trust, and one forthright fifth wife, the gavel would fall for good. This court has heard extensive, emotionally charged, and complex testimony, the judge started. We are not here to judge the morality of lifestyle choices, but to decide how assets, vows, and family roles have been distorted, intentionally or not. She addressed Kody Brown. Mr. Undefined Brown, you've practiced a pattern of control by omission, vagueness, and deception, both financially and emotionally. Kody glanced up but didn't respond. You've confessed to financial transfers, spiritual commitments beyond your legal vows, and withholding major agreements from your partners. These are not only moral shortcomings, these have real-world implications. The courtroom steeled itself. Effective immediately, declared the judge. All assets under the Coyote Pass property shall be frozen pending a full forensic accounting examination. This consists of land, titles, and possible royalties from existing and prospective productions featuring the Brown family name. Christine simply nodded. Any royalties on previous Sister Wives episodes or related media will be refigured based on active participation throughout each recorded season. Back pay will be owed to Christine Brown and Mary Brown for seasons 17 through 19. Mary's eyes welled up, not from greed, but from long-delayed acknowledgement. And finally, the judge continued, the court will place a temporary injunction on Mr. Brown transferring any family-related assets to the woman known as the fifth wife until the validity of her agreements are proven in a separate legal review. Gasps again. The fifth wife adjusted in her seat. Undefined, that self-assured smirk. Undefined, gone. But it was the words of the judge to Robyn that transformed tears into something much stronger. Dignity. Mrs. Robyn Brown, the judge replied, her voice softening ever so slightly. Robyn raised her head, her expression worn but calm. You have suffered what this court acknowledges as public emotional distress, legal misrepresentation, and material deceit. Robyn's hands shook. Although this court cannot reverse what has occurred, it will acknowledge your claim as the last legal spouse and grant you sole legal control of common minor children, as well as temporary conservatorship of joint bank accounts until proper separation agreements are made. Robyn collapsed once more, but this time, not in despair. In relief. I never wanted his money, she whispered. Just the truth. Kody stood without being invited. Undefined. For the first time in 5 sessions, he resembled less a man in control and more a man fraying. I made mistakes, he said, undefined, but I did what I believed to be best to keep the family intact. Christine stood up from the gallery. You didn't keep it intact, Kody. Undefined. You held it for ransom. The judge waved for them both to quiet down. Mr. Brown, this court strongly suggests, firmly, that you seek counseling prior to entering into any more legally binding arrangements. If you do not oblige, future cases will account for that in decisions on custody and finances. Kody returned to his seat. His 5th wife didn't even look at him. The courtroom fell silent as the judge was about to adjourn. This court doesn't exist to punish. It is present to redress scales tipped by deception, silence, and power imbalance. She glanced at each individual in the courtroom one last time. To Christine Brown, you are retroactively granted access to production income and joint property income from the years you were withheld transparency. To Mary Brown, you are given back pay for the legal loss suffered after exchanging marital status for Kody Brown's sake. To Robyn Brown, you have legal spousal rights until divorce actions are brought. The court advises you to get an immediate financial audit in order to safeguard your and your children's interests. And then she addressed Kody. To Mr. Kody Brown, you are now the target of 3 active legal investigations, 2 civil, 1 family court, for potential fraud, embezzlement of money, and not reporting assets in marital transactions. These will proceed under separate judicial branches. The gavel falls. Court is adjourned. Bang. The gavel echoed like thunder. Christine walked out into the hallway first. Undefined, paparazzi flashes greeted her. Undefined, she didn't speak. Undefined, she didn't smile. Undefined, but her posture said everything. I'm free. Mary followed closely behind, holding a thick folder of legal papers, proof that her sacrifice wasn't forgotten. Robyn exited last, arm in arm with her lawyer. Undefined, she didn't cry this time. Undefined, her tears had dried. Undefined, her strength had returned. And Kody? He remained behind, alone, slumped in the very chair he had long occupied from. Second wife number 5 was out of sight before reporters even swiveled their heads. Along the way, it wasn't the cameras, chaos, or confessions that dismantled Kody Brown's kingdom. It was truth. And truth, once loudly expressed in a courtroom,